So this is your last chance. After this, there is no going back. You can take the blue pill and wake up tomorrow in your bed believing whatever you want to believe. Or you can take the red pill and stay in Wonderland, and I'll show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Slightly dystopian future predicted around virtual reality. And let's face it, we probably don't want to be going through our lives doing this, do we? And this as a future in our eyesight is probably something we would rather avoid as well. Who really wants to look like that? And do we want our world to end up looking like that? So why then augmented and virtual reality? Is it a fad? Is it going to go away like the yo-yo? Is it fundamental to the way that we will access insights, information, and connect and collaborate with other people? Imagine you could tour and buy your next property even before it's built. What if you could fix an elevator without needing the 300-page manual or trying to identify the component that's broken or the screwdriver that you need and the tools that you need? Imagine you could wear a virtual reality headset as a carer for an aged care facility or as a family member and know exactly what it's like to have Alzheimer's. All of those projects are implemented. They're all readily accessible in Australia on technology you can buy today for thousands of dollars rather than millions of dollars. And that's why, if you look at the industry, this chart was taken in October last year. And over the last 4 years, we've seen $4.3 billion. And in fact, it's a little bit more now. It's more like $4.8 billion that have been invested in augmented and virtual reality technologies. And some of the biggest technology companies that we know are betting their futures on this technology. These are companies that we all use products from every day. Okay, so all companies want to do one of three things, or more than one of three things, all three of these things. Business drivers. You want to grow, revenue, market share, profit, whatever the metric is. You want to reduce your costs, become more efficient, improve productivity, and you need to comply to regulations and legislation. And so can augmented and virtual reality help you with the strategic insight part of your firm? Absolutely. When I was at HPE last year, we were working with two very large financial institutions. One of them is a federal one, and the other one was one of the banks, looking at how can you look at 100 years worth of mortgage transactions, for example, and overlay that over news, demography, weather, geography. Now, you can't get those kinds of insights except in 3D virtual reality type of experiences. Imagine you could engage your customers and give them all of the information about the things that they want to buy before they even meet a person in your company. That's what the banks are doing with augmented reality when they sell you houses now or give you mortgages for houses. This is a picture of an Olympus-equipped operating theater, and it's totally in virtual reality. And so now hospitals can put their surgeons into this Olympus operating theater. They can learn how to use the equipment, and they can, of course, increase sales of that equipment. And then the last one is, how do you engage your employees? And everything from induction training. I know cafes that are using cameras like this with video and doing Google Cardboard inductions for their staff to reduce the cost of inducting casual staff into the cafe. Okay, so let's do a quick primer then. What do I mean when I say augmented reality and virtual reality? I think everybody's fairly familiar with the terms, but what I want to do is just a quick primer. Augmented reality is when you put digital information in front of your eye line, usually critical information. Then we saw the rise with cameras in our mobile phones and accelerometers and things of what they call marker-based augmented reality. So you can see there's a marker on the piece of paper over there, and then when I look through the phone, I see a picture of a house, and you can put any kind of 3D information there. And then the last one, who played Pokemon Go? Yep, okay. That's location-based augmented reality. So that instead of using a marker, it uses the GPS. The GPS tells the phone where it is and where the object is in the real world. Mixed reality is when you take this digital information and you give it physical properties. So if I had a digital ball on the table there, the first physical property I give it is location. So if I turn away, it stays there. Whereas if I did that with normal AR, if I turned away, I would still see the information on my screen. Okay, virtual reality we've also had for a number of years. Anybody who knows an airline pilot knows that they fly in simulators. That's virtual reality. You are totally immersed in the world. You can't see the real world around you like you can with augmented reality. For the rest of the talk, what I wanted to do was I wanted to change it up a little bit and just talk a little bit about the current technology that we have today and some design constraints so that you can go back to the office and go, do you know what? This process would be really cool if we used blah, and you had a little bit of knowledge about what blah was, right? What are the design constraints? If we consider that we are down the bottom left-hand side of the slide over there, looking at 2D screen, and where we're going to go is the top right-hand slide over there, wearing eyewear. Pretty much now most businesses are here, a lack of awareness, and we've got to go through a whole life cycle up to get to operations. And of course, there's a whole bunch of challenges that you can't read because I very cleverly put them in red on a black background. And then there's a whole process that you need to go through to get to that point. So what I want to do is just talk a little bit about solution design there. So augmented reality devices. Heads-up display, very, very common now. If you own an expensive BMW, you've probably got one of these. Then, of course, if you want some more detail, we start looking at marker-based augmented reality. So this is that KTM motorcycle again. And they literally have a marker on every motorbike, and you point your phone at it, and it shows you exactly the part that you're looking at, and then it'll give you instructions on how to fix it. Then, of course, you might be in a position where you're a doctor in an operating theater or in a hospital room, or maybe you're a mechanic of a jet airliner and you're hanging off the side with one hand, and you don't have hands to hold up iPads and things. These glasses give you mobility. These are the Epson Moverio 200s. They basically give you an Android tablet, about 7-inch Android tablet, about arm's length away from your eyes. Mixed reality devices. Google have got a project called Project Tango. Lenovo have released a phone. So remember, mixed reality gives physical attributes to that three-dimensional information. So the Lenovo Fab 2, which is about 9 inches and it's massive and you're never going to hold it up against your ear. But that device actually does depth sensing. It maps out the room and it'll actually place an augmented reality object in the room. So you can do mixed reality with a handheld device. Of course, Microsoft have come out with a head-mounted device that looks really futuristic. It's called the HoloLens. And essentially, it means that you can be hands-free. Meta, that startup that I spoke about earlier, similar sort of device, except that it's tethered to a computer. The beauty about being tethered to a computer is you never run out of battery power, and you can use the big processor of the computer, so you can get much better graphics. Okay, virtual reality devices. Has anybody had a go on the Google Cardboard? Yep. How did you find the experience? Yeah, okay. It's pretty immersive. Gets a bit tiring holding up a piece of cardboard to your face. Your face gets a bit scratched. Samsung Gear VR, this is the one that everybody's heard of because they partnered with Oculus. The disadvantage is, so it does have control. You use a touchpad on the side of the device, which is a little bit frustrating after a little while. And the other disadvantage is you have to have a Samsung phone. Okay, Google Daydream View. This is the last of the mobile ones for now. That's the Google Pixel phone. The beauty about this is it's got a controller. So you can actually use the controller as a bat, a wand, a steering wheel. The thing about mobile VR is it gives you 3 degrees of freedom. The VR application can't tell whether you're moving forwards, backwards, up, down, or sideways. It can only tell whether you're rolling, pitching, or yawing. Okay, tethered devices. PlayStation VR have sold the most because they sell them with their consoles. This is probably the worst of the tethered VR experiences because they're using old technology to track controllers. Oculus Rift is the one that's exactly 1 year old this week. Everybody has heard of these guys. It's what we call a swivel chair experience. The HTC Vive allows what they call room-scale virtual reality, and you've got controllers as well. So now you've got hand presence inside virtual reality, and again, you can use that for learning how to do surgery, how to bat a ball, baseball, NFL. They're all using these devices to train up their star players now before they play a game against people. Okay, so other things. This is the head-mounted tablet 1. As you can see, the marketing there was done by an engineer, not a marketer. So that just does augmented reality. It's the same as those funny-looking glasses. It puts a tablet at about arm's length. But if you are working in a mine site, this is all industrially certified. So if you're working on an oil rig, in oil and gas, on a mine site, in a hospital, you can wear this and you can be hands-free. It's got a video camera, it's got earphones, and it's got a microphone. This is what the consumers will be wearing. ODG produced these glasses for Mini. So if you buy yourself a new Mini Cooper S in Europe, you get those glasses, and instead of having to look at your Speedo, it's all in your glasses and your GPS. They're coming out with these, the R9s. They look like sunglasses, full augmented reality glasses. This one, this is the Avigant Glyph. It looks like a pair of headphones. It's literally designed for on an airplane. You wear them as headphones, and then when the flight takes off, you flip it down, and you've got virtual reality, and you can watch all of your movies in peace. And then the Fove is, that's the first one where they start interacting with what you're looking at. So when your eye moves in the virtual reality experience, the headset actually tracks what you're looking at. So you can imagine designing something like a retail consumer store, or even just doing packaging in a consumer store, and wanting to see customer behavior. And as they walk through the virtual reality experience, what catches their attention? What do they look at again? How many times do they look at it? Do they have to read a sign, etc.? All of that data you can now capture with the Fove. So thank you very much for your time. Put on your eyewear and get ready for the Matrix. Thank you.